We are top of the league, so we are top of the league. We are top of the league, so we are top of the league. Yes! Back on top where we belong. The boys are back in town. Yes, people, welcome back to another stream. Huh?
You've copyright struck us already.
I don't care. Yeah. Listen, welcome back to another stream, people. I didn't do a review of the game because I was a little bit hungover. I got back from London late last night. I went straight on City Extra. I went straight in the Big Six. I did not have time to record a review, but this is our review. We're talking about the Blue Boys back on top of the Premier League. We went and did the impossible. Everybody went to the Emirates and got slapped up this season, except who? Manchester City. We're back on top. Listen, there's 20 people in the building. Make sure you smash the like button. All of your support massively appreciated. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're getting close now to 6K. That's the new big goal. And get all of your goddamn thoughts in on City versus Arsenal. What a performance. 37% possession. The lowest percentage of possessions Pep Guardiola team has ever had in the Premier League, and we still slapped them up. Well, I don't know about slap them, but we were absolutely class, and we're going to get into the ins and outs of it, so keep getting your thoughts in the chat. I'll see who's here early doors. You know me, people. I always give a shout out to who's here early. Rico Lewis, MCFC, Only Blue in the Village, Spice, Wapap, Luke, Kerry Ann, few of the usuals, few of the regulars, few new faces there. Make sure you're smashing the likes and make sure you are subscribed with the notification bell turned on, and make sure you're getting in your thoughts. I've got a bit of a gum infection. My mouth's killing me here, so excuse me if I slur my words a little bit, people, but I'm still here. I still want to give my thoughts. I was at the game. Definitely the best away game I've ever been to in my whole entire life. The City fans were absolutely sick. Don't worry, people. I can see some of you in the chat asking for Joe's thoughts on Kevin De Bruyne. We will get Joe. We'll get on to Joe about Kevin De Bruyne. I think Joe probably is willing to offer De Bruyne some flowers for his performance because that was Kev's best performance this season. I think it was Haaland's best performance this season. It's well up there for Jack. Like, there's loads of players, absolutely class, and we're going to talk about why we slapped up Arsenal in the Emirates. We have hunted them down. I said for weeks on other shows, people, the Sharks are swimming. We are the Sharks, and we are swimming. You won't get away from us easily. We have caught them down. The hunted have been hunted and caught. We have chased them down. We have passed them out, and it is now time for us to kick on and build from here. Anyways, let's get into it, people. Mary in the chat, my boy Hugh. Good to see you, Mary, my friend. I think, to be honest, Perone should play against Nottingham Forest. I don't want to see Perone anywhere near the team just yet. Big Morgan, boys versus men. That was it, lads. We may as well get straight into it. Boys versus men. I think we went there, right? An Arsenal team who, yes, they hadn't won the last 3 games, but they've been in flying form all season. Nobody has really given them, no one has stamped their authority on Arsenal. Everton did well to get their win. Brentford did well to get their draw. A few things went in each team's favour, blah, blah, blah. But no one has gone to the Emirates and stamped their authority on Arsenal the way we did. De Bruyne pushing Arteta, Jack Grealish's celebration, the shithousery from Ederson. We went there and we said, big bro is in town. We'll take over from here. Well done, lads. You've done well this season. We will take over the reins now. The champions are in town. Good job, but the joke is up. Your time is up now. We're going to take over from here. Anyways, Joe, I may as well get started with you. Before we get into the ins and outs of the players, I don't need you to go too deep with anyone just yet. Just give me your overall feelings. Back on top.
It's a weird feeling because obviously from my point of view, I think their only shot on target was the penalty. Like, we were clearly the better side, but they dominated us. Really, if we're looking at it, they dominated us. They had so much more of the ball than us. What do you say, 37%? The lowest the Pep Guardiola era. 36. I mean, that has never happened before. But I don't think we'll really care. I mean, Arsenal's home record, the only loss that they had, I don't think they lost at home, actually. I think the only times they dropped points was they drew with Brentford and they drew with Newcastle. So we are the first team this season to go to the Emirates in the league and beat them. And we beat them by being the better side. Again, we got dominated. Arsenal had loads of the ball. But we get the 3 points. We looked much more dangerous in front of goal. I think we created more chances. Again, that penalty was like, if it wasn't the only, it was one of the only shots they had on target. I mean, Nketiah couldn't hit anything with a header from 6 yards about 3 times. That helped. But we were just the better side. I think we deserved the win, and I think it's kind of, I'm going in with the same mindset for the rest of the season as Pep is. In his post-match interview, he said that we are still second. That is because Arsenal obviously still have a game in hand, and while on this current vein of form that they're in, you wouldn't really put it past them dropping more points, and I think we all kind of sitting here go, we're both going to drop more points this season. It's inevitable. But I'm expecting Arsenal to bounce back at some point, and that game in hand, I'm just kind of expecting in my mind for them to win and pick up 3 points. I know it's a while away, but that's my expectations. So we still need to, keep going and try and make sure that game in hand means relatively little, because we've got another meeting coming up against Arsenal. I think that'll be that's the big one. But in terms of right here, right now, we are top of the league, and we're hoping that Unai Emery can do us a favour against his old club tomorrow.
Rico Lewis MCFC says Blue Prime Hugh. Listen, Rico, KSI has sorted me out, man. KSI has sorted me right out, yeah? I'm primed up, man. The 1894 is sponsored by Prime. We are sponsored by Prime. We are Prime ambassadors here at the 1894. Don't worry about that, yeah? Shout out Logan Paul, shout out KSI and them, man. I think Joe's spot on, man. We bullied them, and I've been told by Arsenal fans now in the last 24 hours, like, they've kind of flip-flopped, Arsenal fans, in regards to their analysis of that game. Like, I went over to the AFTV filming after the game finished, and I had Arsenal fans coming up to me and saying, oh, we're finished, the league's over, you've caught us, the joke is over now, we did great, but we've been caught now, we have a weak mentality, we're soft, blah, blah, blah. And then 24 hours later, I go in the Big Six, and I'm getting DMs, and I'm seeing Arsenal fans in the chat saying, we were the better team. We were the better team. We just didn't take our chances. I'm like, coulda, woulda, shoulda, man. That's the way football is. You don't take a chance, you don't score. It's not as if we didn't have any chances either. We had a penalty overturned. Akanji had a shot from 6 yards cleared off the line. So in theory, if you're using that logic, it could have been 5 or 6-1 as well. The better team won on the day. I think we went there and absolutely bullied them. That Julian off AFTV is a weirdo. Is he the guy, lads, who talk about our financial cheating and all that kind of stuff?
They're in a financial mess or crisis or whatever. Fucking baldy.
Good will prevail. Good will prevail. Evil will not win.
Evil will not prevail.
Evil has won.
Listen, man. The City fans were singing, man. The City fans were singing during the game. We're Man City. We'll cheat when we want. And Arsenal fans were going fucking crazy at us. It was brilliant, man. Ever been driving down a dark road when someone gets up your rear with the headlights blaring in your mirror? You can't focus on what's in front because of what's coming up behind you. Arsenal, Farsenal. That's some good wordplay, Juddy Hoops. That's some good, or Juddy Hops. That's some good wordplay. I like the I like the story there. A bit of a build up to that. Megan Fox, or Megan Rocks, I should say. I wish she was Megan Fox, but here we are. Julian moaning that the City fans was booing the Premier League song. Yeah, listen, the City fans did boo the Premier League, and they have absolutely every right to as well. But anyways, let's continue with our analysis of that game. Revel, your thoughts?
That was a very... This is mad to say, but that was a very comforting performance that we can go to top of the league with number 8 playing at left back and getting out jumped at every possible opportunity and still win. And win comfortably. I'm going to say that now. Win comfortably. Because that second half, soaking up a bit of the pressure, being able to semi-hitting a counter-attack, I thought we were brilliant. I thought Haaland was absolutely fucking amazing. Even taking the goal out of it. Take the goal out of it. That is his best performance in the City shirt. I think everyone's comfortable in saying that. Drop Gabriel. He was actually in the link-up play. I didn't look at his average position. I probably should, but he was dropping deep. But he was still in those positions. Like that, was it the Grealish? Yeah, Grealish goal doesn't happen without him. Like, we don't win without Haaland there. He doesn't pick up if there's anyone else picking up the ball in that position where he dies off the gunman, I'm not that confident, but he was brilliant. He was so good. And you know what? I think I have a reputation, especially with Joe, that I am the most negative man around. I am a very, very negative little boy. Even in the Discord, and Daniel Neerman can attest to this, I said we'd win the league before Arsenal started dropping points properly. I said we'd still win the league.
As soon as the embargo. It was after the embargo when we got charged, wasn't it?
It was, I was kind of a bit negative after the Spurs game, wasn't it? And then we got done on the Monday. And then I think it was like a Wednesday or something.
Pep Guardiola came out firing, and your mind switched.
Yeah. No, but it was even before. It was before the press conference. Remember, Dan kept saying, "Oh, what was he cooking?" After the press conference came out, so it was before that. So I'm taking my flowers for that. But technically,
we've not won any leagues yet. We've not won any leagues yet.
Listen. Are you not confident going forward? Are you not confident?
I am, but we'll get into it. You're jumping ahead. We've got a whole show to do.
I'll stick to the match. Kevin De Bruyne, Jesus Christ, Joe's gonna give him props.
We'll give De Bruyne his own segment as well. I think the people
want. Right,
let's keep it on the overall thoughts in the game, and I'll see what people are saying, and we'll work our way into what players we want to talk about. Chat, let me know. Is there any players that you want to see us talk about? You get in your thoughts, and we'll talk on them as well. We have 4 or 5 in mind that deserve mega shoutouts, but if there's anybody else you want to talk about, let us know, and we'll have that chat as well. Luke says treble incoming. I just don't trust Ederson anymore. Ortega should be starting. Let's have a talk about that penalty, because for me, I actually haven't watched the game back, and I said it on City Extra last night that if you want to have conversation here about the intricate plays and the finer details of the match, I'm not the guy to ask. I'm not the guy to ask, because unfortunately when I go to games, I don't analyze them as well as when I watch them on television, and I haven't actually watched it back. So anything I'm telling you about, it's genuinely just based off what I saw from the stand and the vibes I got. I'm more of a vibe merchant right now, because the vibes in that away end was absolutely immaculate, as they say. But listen, the penalty, obviously, wasn't it? Nketiah was through on goal. Ederson came out, as a goalkeeper should. I think he has to come out in that situation. He can't let Nketiah just run straight through. So he comes out. Nketiah gets the shot away. Nketiah thinks he scored because he runs off and starts celebrating from what I saw. And then ref says penalty. And I wasn't quite sure why there was a penalty given. And I saw all the City players going absolutely sick at the referee. And then I saw it back in the stand. The guy beside me showed it to me. And I said, you know what? It's possibly a soft penalty. I understand why it's given, and those kind of situations they are given. For me, it's a bit of a hometown decision. If that's in the Etihad or Arsenal playing away somewhere, it may not be given, because I don't think there's a huge collision. It's not as if Ederson cleaned him out, but it's the same way I said about Jack Grealish's penalty against Thingy last week, Aston Villa, that in that situation, if you're the goalkeeper or a fullback or a centre half and you make any contact at all and the player goes down, you run a huge risk of giving away a penalty. And unfortunately, I'm not going to put a huge amount of blame on Ederson. I'm not going to criticise him for that, because I want him to come for that ball. And I feel for him because he went in with the intent of getting the ball, and he went in pace. He can't just stop himself in his tracks. He can't just freeze frame. Momentum carried him through when he made contact with Nketiah. So it is what it is. 40 people in the building. Will you smash the like button, please? It really does help the channel, and subscribe if you're new. But Joe, let me know your thoughts on that one. Nketiah's penalty, and then Saka put it away, obviously.
It's not a penalty for me. It's just not a penalty. I don't think it's a penalty. The keeper has to come out. If he doesn't come out, then we're all screaming at him, because we know Ederson loves to rush off his line. And if he just sits there and lets him have the shot and it goes in, we're all going, well, why didn't you come out for it? We saw, roll your minds back to Aston Villa at the weekend. Haaland clean through, goalkeeper clatters him. We score, referee rules it out, because Haaland and the keeper have come together. They rule it out. I don't understand what the rule is. I mean, it's a 50-50. Ederson's gone for the ball. Nketiah has had the shot. The shot has gone. If that is, say, a defender making a last-ditch attempt to win the ball, to make a block or make a tackle, and the shot's gone and then they make contact with the player, that's not a penalty, because the shot has gone. He's had the shot. The player's gone on. That contact has made no impact on the game whatsoever. The contact hasn't, done anything, because he's already had the shot, and then it's cleared off the line, and then because it hasn't gone in, the ref's gone, penalty because it didn't go in. If no one's on there to clear it off the line, which Ake was, it's a goal. They just give a goal and they carry on. I don't really understand. I don't think it's a penalty, but at the end of the day, I mean, again, you kind of alluded to it there. I mean, Arsenal were the home team. If there was ever a team going to get that decision, it was probably Arsenal playing at home. It's a sort of decision where it's very up in the air. It's very 50-50. And I do think that, whichever side that was on, if that happened to us at the other end, I'm not sure we get a penalty. I'm not sure that gets given for us.
No, we don't. I think you're spot on there. That's why I said hometown decision. It's one of those ones that works in the favour of the team that's the loudest. And because they were home, they were the loudest. And I have to give credit to the Arsenal fans. They were fucking loud. They were genuinely loud. I've been to a lot of away games in recent weeks. I've been to Stamford Bridge, I've been to Old Trafford, I've been to Tottenham, and I've been to Arsenal. And I would place that Arsenal home crowd as probably the second loudest of all those 4 away grounds I've been to. I think, I hate to say it, but I'm going to put Man United on top, because their fans were just I wasn't expecting them to be like that in that game. But the Arsenal fans, man, they were aggressive yesterday, and a tactic that we used that is very unlike Manchester City, but I was actually quite impressed to see us do it, was the dark arts. We definitely engaged in the dark arts. The thing, like I said at the beginning, was the Emirates has been a great place all season. Everything has gone their way. Decisions-wise, they've had a lot of luck this season, playing great football. The fans are loud. It's all been great. So we clearly went there with the idea and the tactic of disrupt the fuck out of that, go and piss them off, get the fans feeling angry and edgy and, you know, disrupt their whole good feel factor, if you like. So Ederson slowing down the play. I don't think Ederson was doing it over the top. I don't think it even warranted the yellow card. I think it's just because the fans got on his back, they got on the referee's back. So once the fans got on Ederson's back 3 or 4 times, he gave him a booking. But I like to see that, and I understood exactly what we were doing. It was smart play. What do you think, Revel?
I was really impressed. Like, it's not unlike us to do the dark arts in the last 15, 20 minutes, whatever. You catch your mind back to Old Trafford a few years ago. We were taking a piss for about 25 minutes. But we were doing that from when we went 1-0 up. We were doing that from when we went 1-0 up. That says to me that there was enough confidence in that back line, with Bernardo Silva, left back, by the way, to think, yeah, we can close up shop at what is currently the worst place to go in football, which it is, because, well, maybe not in football, in the league, definitely, because they hadn't lost. They hadn't lost. But you have to appreciate the bollocks. You have to appreciate the bollocks to be able to turn around and go, you know what? Those shithouses. We will shit. Because that's what it was. It was a level of shithousery where you're like, you have to respect it. I thought it was just a really good performance. Overall, like, you know what I mean? From everyone. I can't actually turn around and say, this player had dropped a 6. He was a stinky cunt. Like, you know what I mean? I thought they were great. I thought everyone, 1 through 11, was amazing. But on the Ederson thing, that's not a penalty. You see them every week, every single week, and they're not given. I don't know what changes now. I don't know if it's a new rule or something, but we didn't hear anything about a new rule. The momentum, like you said, has taken him through. Like, that's what's gone through. He can't just stop. He's gone for that ball, and he's got the shot off. There shouldn't be out and pass at it. Like, there's no advantage in the penalty box. Like, you're not paying advantage. It's not like it happened in the middle of the pitch. It's a joke. But even with that going against us, no, it's just comforting. Comforting we can still go out and do that, because we haven't hit a good run of form all season. What was it? The most games we've won this season in a row was 3
in the league.
In the league. That's a long, like, that, and that run was a while ago as well. Like, we are so inconsistent, but we've still gone there with the confidence to say, you know what, we're going to shut up shop after scoring. If they score, we have the confidence to go and do it again, and we did it twice again. We did it twice and still locked it up. But, Murray, it's funny you said that about the fans. As soon as that tour goal went in, there was a mass clear out.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I can understand that a little bit. You know, you're 3-1 down, and there's 5-6 minutes to go. I can get it a little. I wouldn't be personally. I'm
not trying to say that they were wrong to leave, but at the same time, I haven't seen that from Arsenal since the glory days of Asna.
Well, I was with my friend Patrick Gannon, as you know, Rebel, and what?
Is Pat there?
Yeah, he had a ticket for the home end. He was sitting with the Arsenal fans, and he was saying that when fans were leaving with like 5 minutes to go, there was a lot of Arsenal fans shouting at the other fans who were leaving, being like, where the fuck are you going? Like, don't just leave now because it's not going our way. And I get that. Listen, I can understand fans who, I guess, in a way, who want to leave when, you know, there's 5 minutes left and you're not going to get back in the game. And personally, it's not me. I'm a believer in even if you're losing 5-0, you stay to the final whistle, because that's just the way I was brought up, and it's the way I've always been. But look, it is what it is. I think you're right. Overall, it's a great performance. Everybody played well. If I'm being hypercritical, like hypercritical, I think in the first half, Bernardo Silva at left back probably wasn't ideal, but Pep made a great decision in moving him to wide right and taking Mahrez off in the second half. A massive difference between the two teams. It was the experience of the managers. It was quite clear that Pep Guardiola knew how to handle the occasion better than Arteta. He knew how to handle the in-game decisions better than Arteta. And referring to the dark arts again, like, we got on Arteta's head. We definitely got under his skin, into his head, whatever way you want to look at it. I mean, when De Bruyne bitched up Mikel Arteta, it was a massive statement. Yeah, man. When one of our midfielders is literally bullying your manager in his technical area, it's a massive stamp of authority, and it's a massive fuck you. We're the top dogs. We're the champions. You've done well this season, but we are the top dogs. You are little bro. You're just a City 2.0, a remade light version of us right now. And that's exactly what we intended on doing when we went there. I'm not saying Arsenal are a poor team, and I'm not saying that's my overall point of view, but it's quite clear that's the way City approached it. They went down to the Emirates with the idea of, we are the big dogs here. We are the Sharks. We are the Lions. You're just imposters on top of the table right now who we are going to catch. And that's exactly what we did. And I was so happy to see that. But when I said in the chat there, who do you want to see us talk about? Because we don't have all night to talk about absolutely everybody, but some players do deserve conversations. Sergio MCFC says Diaz. So we'll start with the centre backs. Ruben Dias, man. Ruben fucking Dias. He's that guy, man. He's that guy. We've got a few of them guys in the team right now, but Ruben Dias, what an absolute gladiator. A titan. Yeah, listen, he came over at the end of the game, right, to the away, and he took his shirt off The guy is hench. The guy is fucking hench. He was right in front of me, like a few meters away from me. And when I say his arm's the size of my head, I don't mean that lightly. The guy is absolutely
a big head too.
I do have a big head as well. That's the sad part. He's wham. He's absolutely wham. And he was a warrior. He was a warrior because Arsenal did have some big chances. Diaz stopped a few big chances. He's brave. He rallied the troops. There's a massive part of me believes we don't win that game without Ruben Diaz. As good as we were going forward, I think referring back to the point that I've made a huge amount recently is the comfort that he offers to the rest of the team when he's on the pitch is huge. It's absolutely massive. Like galvanizing has been a big word for us in recent weeks, hasn't it? The FFP thing, galvanizing the team. Ruben Diaz galvanizes the team. He makes our team complete. Listen, lads, let's have some Ruben Dias prop here. Let's give the cunt his flowers because he's absolutely massive.
He's brought happiness back to my life. He has brought every shred of happiness back to my life. Yeah, back when we signed him, and he was back around this time. Yeah, he was the best defender in the league. Nay, he was the best defender in the world. Right? He had this weird little semi drop off last season. He got dropped and injured then for this season. But fuck me, man. When he's on it, he's him. When he's on it, he's the best in the world. He's the best in the world. I'll comfortably say that. The ball playing leaves a bit to be desired, especially when he's not partnered by a Stones, by Laporte, which was why I found it strange that Laporte wasn't playing yesterday. I don't think he came on, did he? Akanji came on. But I don't know. Like I love Nathan Ake. Better left back in the minute. A better, solid defensive left back. He's better at that. When you have Diaz in there, as good as he is the stalwart, he is the stopper, he is him. He's the best one-on-one defensive centre-half, maybe in the world, maybe in the league, whatever, right? You need someone to balance it out beside him, which is why, especially now with some weird news that came out today about Laporte, apparently we're actually willing to listen to offers. Baffles me. It baffles me because he's as good a ball player as anyone in the world. Him and Diaz, we haven't actually ever really got an extended run of seeing, have we? Because there's always been Stones. Laporte's been in and out injured. Ake, left back, centre back, Akanji now as well. We haven't seen that, but that could be our best centre half partnership. And I'm a John Stones enthusiast, and I say that.
What do you reckon, Joe?
He's a very, very sexy man, Ruben Dias, isn't he? I think we all kind of...
man, 20 quid, like, you know what I mean?
He is. I mean, there was that one tackle on Xhaka where he goes for the block. Xhaka does a fake shot. He goes past him and Ruben Dias swings a leg out and he wins the ball. Like, he is him. He is different gravy. He is different gravy. And that's the sort of game that we have. That's the sort of player we've been missing in these sorts of games where you look at United away, where you look at Spurs away. Someone who's just going to, because we're the away, in that sort of scenario, we're the away side, you would imagine that we're going to be under the cosh more than the home side because that's how it should work. We've been missing that defender who's just going to come in there and take no nonsense whatsoever. And obviously, he plays very on edge. There is a very high risk with the way he plays of giving away fouls, picking up a booking, maybe even giving away a penalty. But that's just how he plays, and his timing, for the most part, is absolutely amazing. So he's the leader we've been missing. I think, obviously, he struggled with his injuries a little bit. I think by the time Laporte had come back to fitness this season, that's when Diaz picked up his injury this season, and he did get dropped a couple of times for when, Akanji was on his mad little purple patch that he had at the start of the season. But, I mean, Diaz has to play. He just has to play. You can't drop him when he's fit because we don't have that leader. Especially, I feel like it was more felt with the fact that Kyle Walker was so absent for the first half of the season with injuries, that there was just no leader whatsoever in that back line. There was just no one, and it doesn't help, obviously, with the fact that Pep liked to have this fucking revolving door of centre-halves where he'd pick two random centre-halves out of a hat and go, yeah, you're starting. Like, we haven't had a set partnership all season. Diaz has to be there no matter what. It doesn't matter who you put next to him, whether he decides to go Ake, whether he decides to go, preferably not Akanji, but even if he decides to go from Stones, Laporte, whoever, Diaz has to be the partner because you need that leader, especially for the running. I mean, the Champions League's about to kick off again. I mean, it has kicked off for other clubs. We're going to be starting that again soon. Obviously, we all, unfortunately, remember playing at the Bernabeu and that sort of mad 10-15 minutes where everybody dropped. That's a learning experience. Diaz, hopefully he's learned from that, but he's a leader. We need a leader. I mean, We have Rodri. We have Gundogan. He's the club captain. We need Ruben Dias in there to be a leader because we just don't have one at the back especially when Kyle Walker's missing. That's when it's most felt. We had Ake and Akanji just passing it sideways between each other, and it just wasn't working. You needed something else, and his passing will get better. I always bring up this point. He's the youngest out of all of our centre halves. His passing will eventually get better. He's starting to play 40-yard passes. He might not be the best. He probably will never be the best at them, but he tries them.
I think we all know that we would prefer to have Diaz beside a Laporte or a Stones, like a better ball-playing centre-half. But I think just having Ruben Dias in the starting 11 at all is an absolutely huge thing. I think he's such a leader that whoever he has beside him, he'll carry through the game. Like he's that level of beast mode. He'll carry whoever the fuck's beside him through the game. Big up Marcus in the chat. I believe he's a Man United fan. He says, Hugh, I'm here, bro. I know you saw the oil news. I assume you're talking about the supposed takeover of Man United, the Qatar guy, the Sheikh. I saw that, man. It's big. Listen, 70 people in the building. Bam, 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 70. Make sure you smash the like button if you can. It massively helps. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. Big up Ruben Dias. Obviously, he's our leader, and I think he's the club captain in my eyes, even though Gundo is that guy. But Diaz, man, what a leader. Let's move it up to the middle of the park. The conversation all of you want to have, I've seen in the chat from the beginning, it is about the star man, Kevin De Bruyne. Listen, what a fucking performance. It's his best performance this season. He drops a 10 out of 10. And I'm just going to pass the mic straight over to Joe, man, because that's what we're all here for. I want to hear, does Joe still hold his Kevin De Bruyne agenda, or is he going to give him some goddamn flowers for a change? Let's have it, Joe.
Okay, well, the first thing I'm going to do is get the player ratings up on the screen because I've been hiding these until we came across this man because I knew that we were all going to get here and everybody wanted to see what I said.
What's he cooking?
Hold on, let me get the fucking player ratings. Let me pause it. Pause on the screen.
10 out of 10, you know. 10 out of 10 and a star beside his name. Kevin De Bruyne is the man of the match. Man of the match, KDB. Joe, big him up. Come on, bro.
If I could give him a 12, I would. He gets a +1 for pushing Arteta and he gets a +1 for controlling a beer bottle. I mean,
no, it was a bottle of Prem.
Bottle of Prime. Sorry, bottle of Prime. KSI. Bottle of Prime. He could control one of those. I mean, I can't say anything else apart from that is his best game all season. He got his goal. He got his assist. He got bottles of Prime and bottles of beer thrown at him. He pushed Arteta. I mean, what more do you want? I mean, it was pure shithouse. It was a joy to watch, and I can't say anything else other than that was a 10 out of 10. He was by far the best player on the pitch. He owns Arsenal. He loves a game against Arsenal. He loves a goal against Arsenal. It's simply incredible. I'm sure everybody has been waiting for this moment where I've had to go and turn around and praise him, and I don't have a bad word to say. I really don't have a bad word to say.
Goldbridge is gone, people. Mark Goldbridge has left the building. He is now Joe once again. You can all refer to him once again as Joe.
Bridge is gone.
Joe Bridge no more, man. Joe Bridge no more. He's a Kevin De Bruyne fan.
Can I listen? I got a point. I do have a point to make. It's not negative. It's not negative. Before you jump on me, it's not negative. It's not negative. Stop putting your hands on your head. All I want to see is consistency. I'm not expecting this every week because that is just absurd. I expect that from no one on the planet Earth. Like, I expect that from no player. I would like to see consistency because he's had a lot of games where he has been really good. He has had a few where he's been not as good, obviously. I would like to see consistency. I would like to see more of a game like he had against Aston Villa, where, he doesn't come out with a goal, he doesn't come out with an assist, but you can say, he had a good game. I want to see more of that. I want to see consistency. And if he does that for the rest of the season, if he's consistent for the rest of the season, you won't hear a bad word come out of my mouth about him. If he can stay consistent, that's when the slander stops.
Listen, Kev's the man. King Kev, yeah. He made the Emirates his gaff. Like I said, Alan asked in the chat, or Abdul Alan says in the chat, what do you think about KDB pushing your former assistant coach? I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. He literally went up to their manager, the top of the league team's manager, pushed him and said, fuck you, man. The champions are in town. I don't care if you used to coach me. I'm your man. I am the king. I'm coming down to your yard. I'm making this my gaff now. I'm taking the keys. I'm taking your wife. I'm taking your car. I'm taking everything. This is my gaff now. And let's have a conversation about that goal, yeah? Because that goal was simply beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And Arsenal fans saying, oh, you got lucky there because Tommy Yasu's mistake. Listen, Tommy Yasu's mistake, forget that for a second. The finish The finish is absolutely disgusting. It's exquisite. The skill levels he showed, he doesn't have a weak foot, first of all. He doesn't have a weak foot. To do that on his left foot is outrageous. Absolutely. And the thing is, I was in the away end, and it was the most delayed reaction celebration to a goal I've ever experienced in my life, right? The ball gets passed back from Tomiyasu to Ramsdale. De Bruyne appears out of nowhere, lobs it over Ramsdale, and it goes in the net. And the City fans all kind of go, huh? Like, we weren't sure what, we were like, surely that's not just happened. That's absolutely wild. We see De Bruyne kind of jog off and celebrate like an absolute boss. And we're like, oh shit, yeah, Kev's back, man. The beast has woken up. The beast has woken up, man. What do you reckon, Rebel?
You know what? I've three words, right? Wristband De Bruyne, right? That man came out with a wristband. I don't know what happened to him, but that gave him special powers, I think. I think that woke him up a little bit. You know that? You know that wristband De Bruyne is him, but he was outrageous. Like, was like, what are you doing? What are you
He's preparing.
Doing?
He's preparing for the
He's
next
preparing.
section.
Just in case you didn't know who. Sorry, lads. Just in case you didn't know who was next.
There's your massive hint.
Yeah, it's a massive hint, right? Kevin De Bruyne, right? I'm not as bad as Joe, but I'm bad. I give him stick. I give him a lot of stick. But that shuts me up for a couple of weeks. That shuts me up for a couple of weeks where I can turn around and go, you know what? He did that. And let's be fair, the biggest stage. That's the biggest stage. He could have turned up and put out a statement performance, and he did it, right? He did that shit. He was that motherfucker yesterday, right? It wasn't even just that. It was the way he was getting involved. The crossing was a bit stinky. I'll say that 1 out of 5 complete. That's the only thing I would say.
I hope you shout at him for that, because I tried to bring that up at the weekend against Aston Villa, his crossing, and I got called Mark Goldbridge.
His crossing's really, really poor. But I'll add a caveat. The killer passes, the balls in behind, like the stuff that we labelled Hollywood passes a while ago, they're coming off a bit more lately. They're coming off a bit more. Take Tottenham out of the equation when he came on. Something started to click. Maybe look, you have to acclimatise to having a proper number 9 there. We haven't had a beam pole number 9 since Edin Dzeko. Like, we haven't had a proper beam pole striker who can't really drop into channels. But Jesus Christ, if this is a sign of what's to come, that's scary hours. It's scary hours because he's already getting the link up. We just said that was his best performance all season, right? Realistically, he's been dropping 2s and he's been dropping 8s. That's his 10 out of 10. And he is still the leading assister in that Premier League by probably a country mile. Like, that guy is, even when he's poor, he's picking up stats. Yesterday, his all-around game was fantastic. It was so good. You know, it leaves me a big smile. I love being able to compliment him because I always give him shit. It left me feeling whole. It left me feeling whole. You know what I mean? Like, this is a performance. This is just a full performance where I can look at and go, it's just beautiful. It's just genuinely beautiful. It makes me happy. It makes me smile. You know what I mean? I liked a bit. It makes me smile.
I mean, I do want to just add to the whole crossing point. Of the fact that I think he hugs the touchline, like he's right out too far right, or like he's on the touchline far too often. I want him further inside near the edge of the box, because not only can he pick out a pass, but I mean, you saw for the third goal where he runs down the right channel and pulls it back for Haaland. That is the sort of pass I want him to be getting in those areas. But not only that, he's one of our only dangers from outside the box in terms of shooting long shots. He's one of our only dangers from long shots. Apart from Rodri, no one else really takes them. So I want him like a little bit more central, you know, a bit closer to Haaland, so we can sort of bounce off him a little bit more.
Lower down your mic. There's a bit of an echo.
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, fix your mic. Whatever's going on, there's a bit of an echo there when Joe was speaking.
Sorry. I'll lower you down a little bit, Joe, and then just let Joe speak there for a second.
I mean,
I'll say Kevin De Bruyne is the best player in the world.
I will not say that, not yet.
All right, there you go. Anyway, yeah. Marcus says, bro, he does look like Goldbridge. I'm laughing at him. Yeah, you're all good now. You're all good. He does. I don't think he looks like Mark Goldbridge. I just think he has some takes like Mark Goldbridge. But listen, it is what it is, man. Kevin De Bruyne.
I can see it.
Kevin De Bruyne has been, at least for this game, he's been dubbed as Joe's man of the match. But listen, we need to move on to the star of the show. Yeah, stole the show. Yeah. My man, Super Jackie Grealish, yeah? Where's his GNA? There's his GNA. Yeah, turns up on the biggest game of the season and turns up at one of the biggest goals of the season. There's his goddamn GNA. Jackie G. Jackie G and A. Oh yeah, Jack Grealish, man. Let's have a chat about him because this guy, he's not been getting the flowers he deserves, has he? He really hasn't. And the most funny part for me was when I went over to that AFTV shoot after the game, I had all these Arsenal fans coming up to me going, Hugh, man, I had Grealish all wrong. I had him all wrong. He's actually sick. I was like, shut up. You shut up. What? Because he put the ball in the back of the net. Now you're saying he's sick. He's been playing like that all season, bro. He's been like that all season. And you're saying because he scored a goal. Listen, give him his flowers. Jack Grealish is that guy. Did you see his celebration? Did you see he came over right in front of me?
I had to tear the shirt off.
He loves it, man. He loves this club.
He went to take his shirt off, then he realised he was on a yellow card, and he went, no, I'm not doing that.
Bro, man, Jack Grealish, what a goal, yeah? We told him he needs to take the shackles off this season, man. He needs to take the shackles off. He needs to start shooting more. As Dano says in the chat here, Hugh, tell your boy to shoot more. It saves my voice because I scream at my TV every game because he doesn't want to shoot. Man, he's shooting more, and he's had a lot of bad luck. Let's call a spade, man. He's had a lot of bad luck this season. He has been shooting more, but Kepa made some worldy saves. Emi Martinez made a worldy save last week. Other keepers, Wolves keeper made a worldy save that day. He could have a lot more goals, but it just hasn't gone his way. You know, sometimes the cookie doesn't crumble in your favor, but that was a finish and a half. I know it took a bit of a deflection, but to be in that position, you know, Haaland, great ball to Gundo. And when Gundo had the ball at his feet, I'm saying, right, Gundo has to shoot here, surely Gundo's going for either side of Ramsdale. And I go, no, not one more. I didn't even see Grealish coming in. It was my peripheral vision. I see this beautiful man with the most glorious hair you've ever seen pop into my eyesight and bury the ball in the back of the net. And I went, oh shit, that's Grealish. And it went fucking crazy. That's fucking Grealish. Because last time I saw Grealish score, in person, it was at the Old Trafford game, and I was in heaven. I'd hit cloud nine. I said, I'm here to see Grealish score a winner in Old Trafford. Like, this doesn't get better for me. For those of you, the 70 people in the chat, smash the likes. For those of you who've been here for a long time, you'll know I'm a Grealish fanboy, and I've defended him like tooth and nail. When the world was against Jack, I defended him, and these two lads, they will attest for me. I know they don't attest me very often, but they will attest for me on this. I defended him like my life depended on it. So to be in Old Trafford and see him score that goal, I was like, yes, he's done it. I've got my moment with Grealish. And then, you know, we didn't win that game, and I'm going, fuck, I'm going to have to wait to another game. The biggest game of the season comes along. We go down to the unbeaten at home Arsenal, playing great football. The atmosphere is electric in the Emirates, and Grealish pops up. Grealish pops up to break that 1-1 deadlock. Yeah? He's that guy, man. He loves this club. He looks like a Pep player. He looks like a City player. All season when we've been saying we're lacking leadership, we're lacking players, at a stage where we're saying we're lacking players who look like they want it. He has always looked like he wants it. To be fair to him, he's always looked this season like he wants it, and he wants to drive the team. And that's why you can't pull him off that left wing easily. Phil Foden, if he wants that spot, he's going to have to work really fucking hard because Grealish is that guy right now. Lads, let's give some prop to Jack Grealish. Super Jack.
I'll give you a prop, right? No, right. Now, I said this to him before stream, yeah. I said this to him before stream, but...
Wait, hang on, let me people, listen to this story loud and clear because this is a really, really important story.
It's, you know what, it's fairly important. So we were sat here, just in a call. We weren't streaming, we weren't playing pro clubs, nothing. We just kind of sat there talking. And Murray goes to me, right? And like, you know, he would always... You know, yeah, this is Monday night. And Murray will always... I don't want to say take the piss, but like it's a level of taking the piss to where he goes, oh, Grealish got to score. I predict Grealish got. It's a running gag. We have the running gag, right? We have fun here. Murray turns around to me Monday night. I have a feeling, and I'm not saying this is a joke. This is his words. I have a feeling. I'm not saying it as a joke. I do genuinely, really, really think he's going to score. Like genuinely, really do think. And you know what? I nodded him ways. I was like, yeah. Look, anyone can score, I suppose. Fuck me, like, and you know what? As well, I will say as well, he's a weird. He's up there. He's there on my screen. He's weird knack, Murray. Murray has a weird knack for calling these little niche things. When we were in the taxi going to the airport from Villa last year, Murray goes, oh, I just feel a 93-20 moment here. I can just feel a 93-20. I sat in the back of the car. I told him, fuck off, like it's gonna be 3-0. Please leave me alone.
Who did I say would score? Who did I say would score for Villa?
He did say Matty Cash. He said Matty Cash should score. Fella said Matty Cash would score, right?
He's a time traveller.
I
What a revelation.
The fella was on one that day, but he goes, it was just the way he said that the other night. But I got the exact same thing when we were in the taxi. He goes, and again, this is about 5 o'clock in the morning we were flying, wasn't it? It was still dark out. So I'm sat there like, stop fucking saying that. I am awake 2 hours and you're here bothering me saying, oh, it's going to be a 93.20. He has a knack. He has a knack. He turns up because, you know what, this will happen, and it ends up happening. It's kind of strange. You're a little bit of a weirdo, you know. The NFL script.
I predict these things. No. Call me Mystic Murray because I predict these things. I know for those of you who are here a lot that I joke around and say Grealish is going to score, Grealish is going to score, ha ha. But I meant it on Monday night. I said it to Revel off air. I said I have a genuine feeling now that Grealish is actually going to score, and this was off air, so I couldn't have been joking around like the way I would be on a stream. I was being dead serious. And my man Jack, he's my king, man. He's my king. Joe, give me your thoughts on him.
I mean, it's come out. I still go back to that Leeds game shortly after the break for the World Cup where he genuinely missed about 3 or 4 chances. But I mean, he got 2 assists in the second half. He then goes and scores against Man United. He scores against Arsenal at the Emirates. Like, I'd never ever back him to score just purely because of the fact that he's just. It's really weird. He scores the harder chances, some of the easier ones, some of the sitters, he doesn't score. It's really weird. But he scores them when it matters. He scored at Old Trafford. He scored at the Emirates. He's doing his job. And, I mean, there's that really, really weird stat. I say weird, it's not weird. It doesn't surprise me at all, actually, of our win record when Grealish plays is just unreal to when he doesn't play. I think he hasn't played in 6 games, and it's 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. Like, he just has to play because when he plays, we seem to win games. And he is a real Pep player. He's very versatile, can play a couple of different positions, holds the ball really well, can create openings for himself, for his teammates, even not by passing the ball, just by the space that he can create, just by being there. And he took his goal really well, of course, first time. Took a little bit of a deflection, but we won't count that. It was a very, very good strike. But again, it's one of the harder ones where I'm not necessarily expecting him to score that, but I mean, I expect him to score others that he doesn't. But I'm happy he's shooting more. I really am happy he's shooting more because it's about time that we see, you know, the real Jack Grealish as we've been sort of waiting to see, which is someone who isn't afraid. We said this last season, he said it himself, that he seemed afraid to do, you know, to take shots and to play them risky passes because he was afraid of losing the ball. And I think he's kind of come to the realization that he's just going to lose the ball sometimes. That is going to happen. And that's he's sort of reassured himself and going, I'm going to look for myself a bit more here. And, you know, we said this last season. I think all 3 of us were in agreement. Obviously, you, Murray, you were definitely in agreement with this. But all 3 of us sat here and said, first season, we don't really care about first season. We're all about the second season. We're all about, you know, seeing how he does once he's finally embedded in. And it took a while. But I feel like we have finally arrived at, you know, it's not the finished product. He could get even better. But I feel like we're starting to arrive into that territory now where we're starting to see why he's been bought. I mean, I think we saw glimpses in his first season, but I think now we're starting to consistently see what we paid for.
Summed it up perfectly. People say, I love Jack as a player, but he takes too long to shoot usually. I think he's getting the hang of shooting. Jack, give him the smack. I genuinely think you're dropping points tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about forwards. I don't think it deserves much of a preview or like a too long a preview. We'll all kind of just be saying we want the same. We want to just build on Arsenal and whatnot. We're focusing on the Arsenal performance today because that deserves a proper stream. Darsh, Grealish defending abilities have improved massively compared to last season. It's definitely paying off when we needed it. That's something I've banged the drum for a long time, that same drum, Darsh. I've said a lot of the work Grealish does, obviously, yes, he's had to improve his GNA because that's just the reality of it. You do have to have a bit of a GNA when you play for City, but he does a lot of really unrewarding work, like really unrewarding, you know, heavy tracking back, putting in huge challenges, being a leader. Like, if people forget easily, he was the captain of Aston Villa at a young age as well. So he knows about leadership. He knows about having to lead a team when some people are feeling down or the heads are going down or some players look disinterested. Jack Grealish knows how to get people fired up again. Even if that means he takes a yellow card, he's happy to do it. He's willing to take those risks for the team. Like, What's there not to love about Jack Grealish, genuinely? And I think people are only starting to come to the realization that he's an excellent, excellent footballer now. And you know, if he was scoring more goals, people would be saying he's one of the best players in the world, because his overall play is actually fantastic. And I think more goals will come. I do think more goals will come. Listen, we're about 18, 19 likes off hitting 100. Yeah, we're 18 off hitting 100 likes. So if we get to hit 100 likes while we're live, that would be absolutely sick. So do smash the likes if you haven't done so already, and do subscribe to the channel if you're new. Patrick Hawley in the chat, good to see you. Haven't seen that name for a long time. Last time we had a centre-back that galvanised the defence like Father Ruben does now was Vinny. Too early to compare the two, but Ruben is doing all right things. Listen, man, Ruben he's our current version of Vincent Kompany. Like, Patrick, you'll know him, the lads with me, and you lot in the chat who are around long enough to know Vincent Kompany well enough will know that when we didn't have Vinny in the team, we did look weaker. Like, we had leaders in defence. You know, Otamendi was a leader at times too, but the team was stronger with Vinny overall, because the team's going to play better when they trust their centre halves, or at least one of them, you know, to make those big challenges and lead the team and galvanise, as you said, Patrick. The team plays better because they trust Dias. Players like De Bruyne will play the way they did against Arsenal more when Dias is on the pitch, because they feel more comfortable, because they're like, okay, if I make a mistake, which hopefully I don't, the guy behind me is going to put his life on the line to stop the ball going in the back of the net. And that's just what Dias brings to the team. So listen, big up Grealish, big up Dias, absolutely huge. I think I saw someone in the chat there saying, if I hear the word siege mentality one more time, I'm going to cringe and whatnot. I don't care what rival fans think of the siege mentality thing. The siege mentality it's true. Like, you're watching a siege mentality at Manchester City. Whether you think it's cringe or not, you're witnessing a siege mentality in full effect. The worst mistake the Premier League could have made short term was putting these charges on us. Because like I said, all season we've been missing something small. We didn't know what it was. We know we have the quality in the squad. We know we have the manager. We know we have good fans and whatnot, but something has been missing. Players playing inconsistently, performance-wise, inconsistency in selection. Something was missing. We weren't sure. The Premier League charges is what kickstarted us. They woke the beast. They've made an angry Manchester City. And when Arsenal are doing well and they're leading the title race, you don't want an angry Manchester City. If you wake up the beast was asleep. It's awake now. You look at that game against Villa and you look at that performance against Arsenal. The beast, the shark that is Manchester City, Jaws, it's woken up and it's swimming with anger now. And you don't want an angry shark in a water that you're swimming in, do you? Lads, yes or no? Do you want to be in waters with an angry shark?
I'd say I could take it.
Shut up, Rebel. Joe.
Fuck off. Of course you'd say
you
that.
Don't.
No.
I'm only messing. I probably wouldn't be able to kill a shark.
I speak on behalf of the two lads in honesty. I say you don't want to be in waters with a big, hungry, angry shark. The Premier League made a mistake. They made a big mistake waking us up. The Premier League, like, we've got all these conspiracy theories, and I'm not too much of a conspiracy theorist, but the conspiracy is that Premier League clubs want rid of Manchester City. You know, they want us to go. They don't want to see us winning any more leagues, and they're sick of us dominating, you know, running the country. You've woken us up. Short term, this is the worst thing you could have done, because you've made us more hungry. The fans have come together. The players are now on the same level as us. The manager. We're beating up Mikel Arteta in his own stadium, for God's sake. Yeah? We're pushing him around like a bitch in his technical area. City are here, and City are awake, and City are hopefully here to stay. Absolutely huge. The blue cage has been rattled. Apparently divided the fan base. Top of the league, man. No fan base is divided in Manchester City right now. All the fans are together. I'm telling you, I was in that concourse an hour and a half before kickoff in the Emirates on Wednesday night, because there was no pubs for us to go to. So all the City fans went to the Emirates an hour and a half early. All the older fans, all the younger fans traveled from India, fans traveled from America, no matter where they were from in the world, no matter what age they were, we were all singing the same songs with the same level of chest and the same level of let's go and fucking do this lot tonight. There was a genuine aura and energy and motivation and confidence before that game like I haven't felt in a long time. I was at Tottenham the week before and we were loud before the game, good enjoyable concourse, but there wasn't that confidence of, yeah, we're going to do this lot today. Emirates on Wednesday night, we were like, we're going to fucking do this lot, I promise you. It was a serious night, man, serious night. Which team do you support? I think Marcus is a Man United fan. Darryl Riley in the chat, hold tight Darryl Revel, or hold tight Darryl Riley. He says Darryl Revel travels from Tala. Arsenal's fan base is divided, they attack each other. Lads, where do we stand now? I think this is the best we've seen from Manchester City all season. Like I said, the beast has woken up. The shark is swimming. As Big Steve said, Arsenal are in, what is it? There's blood in the water and there's a shark swimming. There's a big blue shark behind them. That's what Steve said, and he summed it up beautifully. You don't want to be chased down and caught by hardened winners like Manchester City. Hardened winners in our DNA. We know how to catch teams. We know how to hunt, and we've hunted them down. How do they react, lads? What are we expecting from Arsenal and City, I suppose, over the next few weeks?
Go on, Joe.
I'll take it from here. I mean, just sticking kind of on the game. I mean, it's things like, I don't want to say the wheels have fallen off, but we know Arsenal's a very young and inexperienced squad, and they're very, very emotional. You saw it on the pitch. They are a very emotional bunch. They can let their emotions get the better of them. You know, sometimes it almost feels like a kettle. Like he's reached their boiling point with, drawing to Newcastle, losing to Everton, and, drawing to Brentford. It feels like it's reached boiling point and they've just exploded. Like there's loads of emotions going about, and it just, things aren't going their way, and it doesn't seem like at this moment in time they can figure it out, and that comes down to the experience side of things. They've got an inexperienced manager, they got an inexperienced squad, their captain is very inexperienced. I mean, he's 23? I want to say Ødegaard, something around that range. Like, he's not really the most experienced, and you saw what happened when De Bruyne pushed Arteta. Granit Xhaka's the only Arsenal player who actually reacted to that. The rest of the Arsenal players
they bitched out. They bitched out. They didn't want that smoke from our team.
They didn't want it.
They didn't want the smoke.
Ødegaard's a windbag.
They didn't want it. They didn't want it. The only person who went over is Xhaka, and that's because he's got a reputation for, wanting beef. He wants it. Like, even if it's not on, he wants it. Like, he's had that reputation. None of them Arsenal players did anything at all. They've just seen their manager get pushed, and they have done nothing. They haven't reacted, and I can sense the frustration. That it looks like they're very tired and leggy as well. We said that, we've been going on about tests for a long, long time, and this was a test that, we just had to wait and see how it panned out in terms of, they're trying to do what Liverpool did, and that's play the same 11 week in, week out, seeing how far they can actually push that 11 to play. And it seems to me now that they are absolutely knackered. I mean, Xhaka at full time, I'm pretty sure he collapsed to his knees. He looked absolutely shattered. And, they've now got a couple of injuries. Obviously, Partey was missing, Gabriel Jesus was missing, and the performance levels have dropped. They have dropped, and they look tired. And that is the one thing that we've been saying all season long is, they're playing at an unbelievable level at the start of the season, but can they keep this up through, a 38-game season? I don't think any of us expected them to carry on that level. It was only downhill from there. They set the standard so high for, the first half of the season that there wasn't really much room for improvement. If anything, it was only going to go down, and now you're starting to see that downwards curve of where results aren't going their way. They're getting a bit tired. They're picking up a few injuries. The emotions are getting the better of them. They've got a few decisions going against them, and I think that's the main point that Arsenal fans are also focusing on as well. They're also focusing on all these decisions about not drawing lines. It happens. Every single team has decisions in a season go against you. You can't just shift the blame to the official. Yeah, it's probably one of the worst mistakes I've ever seen since the VAR era of just not drawing the lines, completely not drawing the lines at all. But decisions like that have happened. They happen both ways. Arsenal have had some favourable decisions. You can't let that distract you. And Arsenal just seems so emotionally just fragile at the moment that a couple more results, and then Arsenal fans are labeling this as a blip. A couple more poor results, and this isn't a blip. This is just poor form. Like, it's really, really bad form, and they're not totally in danger because they still have that sort of wild card of that game in hand. But with a few more results, if this whole, again, the Premier League have made a mistake. If they don't want us to dominate, why wake us up in the first place? I mean, it's the worst thing they could do. We had Pep had been going on and on and on about him wanting the fans back because the atmosphere wasn't the greatest. Our best home atmosphere was against Aston Villa. Aston Villa at home in the middle of the season was our best home atmosphere this season, or at least this side of the World Cup. They've completely woken everybody up, the fans, the players, the manager, everybody. Everybody's woken up, and it's possibly the worst thing that they could have done if they wanted to stop us from dominating. It really is, because it's hard. Once the train gets rolling, it's hard to stop us. We have been trying to speak this really long unbeaten run into existence. It hasn't happened. We've been very inconsistent, but we're now starting to look at a performance like Arsenal and going, this could really kick us on, because everybody's behind it now. There's no body language. There's no nonsense. Everybody's behind it.
I know, man. The whole club is together, moving as one massive unit right now, and it's just so brilliant to be a part of. Listen, I have to say, there's 85 in the building. We're on 104 likes. Joe, Dara, let's give a round of applause to the chat.
Yeah.
Round of applause to the chat. I want to clap all around. W's in the chat for all of you lot. Big up the 1894 family. Do keep smashing the likes if you haven't done so. Do subscribe if you're new around here. We're live a lot more than we used to be. We're making videos all the time, so we appreciate all the love from you lot. It's a great time to be a City fan. Even if you're not a City fan, you're always welcome to come in here and share your thoughts on what's going on in the world of the Premier League and Manchester City. Whatever you think, come in and share your thoughts. Listen, we're coming towards the end, but I do want to have a conversation, the last bit, about big Erling Haaland, yeah? Big Erling Haaland, man. He absolutely bitched up the Arsenal defence. I think Haaland had his best game in a Manchester City shirt against Arsenal. He didn't have too many touches on the ball, as he never really does, but what he did and the way he imposed himself physically on Arsenal's defence was absolutely huge. Like I said it on all the shows I did yesterday, that when the Arsenal defenders when they're facing their own goal with the ball at their feet, they were so afraid. You could tell they were so nervous on the ball because they could feel this Nordic meat shield coming up behind them at a ridiculously fast pace. Like I haven't seen a striker move that quickly, as big as him, possibly ever. He's a scary guy. And the point I want to make is, people have been saying, mainly rival fans for so long, that City need to work towards Haaland and play to his strengths and get to understand Haaland, when the polar opposite's happening right now. It looks like Haaland is starting to understand Manchester City. It looks like Haaland is starting to understand the way Pep Guardiola wants to play football. Haaland is turning into a Pep Guardiola striker, what Pep Guardiola wants from a striker. Great link-up play for the goal, great pressing and hounding down the defenders, and great finish for his goal on his weaker right foot. It is a weaker right foot. One touch, bang, in the bottom corner. Erling Haaland, I tip my hat to you, son. You are absolutely excellent. Lads, any thoughts on the big fella?
He's that motherfucker. That's all I'll say. He's that motherfucker.
It's definitely his best all-round game. I didn't give him a 10 because, I mean, he scored hat-tricks. But it's in terms of involvement, in terms of terrifying the life out of Arsenal defenders, in terms of hold-up play, getting involved, actually dribbling and running with the ball. That's the best game he's had. That is the best game he's had. And that's the thing that we've been saying with him working with Pep Guardiola is, we knew that he was never the best technically. But he will improve. Pep Guardiola will improve that because he'll want to see him get more involved, because we can't just go into every game this season and expect just for us to be playing with essentially what is 10 men, because we just have this beanpole up front who can't really get involved in the build-up play. So he's had to learn how to do that, and he is learning how to do that. And that's why I touched on before of why I want Kevin De Bruyne sort of a little bit more inside and stop hugging the touchline, is because if he gets close to Haaland, that is scary. That is you cannot stop that. You saw that for the third goal. It's just so hard to stop if they get close to each other and combine. And I think Haaland has some quotes about it when he was talking about how he'd asked Rodri and Bernardo to try and play him in behind and over the top, and they didn't pick him out. That is something that, again, we saw that against Aston Villa. I know it was there was the one where, I can't remember whether it was De Bruyne for the one where Haaland collided with Martinez, but it's the one where Digne made the mistake where De Bruyne just lumps it forward 40 yards, gets a bit of luck, it ends up in a goal. Like, that's why I want him a little bit more central, because Haaland will thrive. If you give him the ball in a good area, running that defence in behind, he will thrive on that. And he hasn't. We've been complaining so much about the lack of service, and that stems from, the players playing behind him. That's a reason why, De Bruyne should be in there, even though I do like to shout at him a lot. He just, the passes that he can pull off, he has to be in there. And that's also, again, why we're also calling for a ball player at the back, because they can also ping, one over to him, or they can ping one to a winger, and that sets us in behind. He thrives on space in behind, and he had that horrible record until he scored against Arsenal, where he hadn't scored against a Big Six club away so far this season. And he gets his goal because he just has an all-round game. And we provide him with the service, and he scores a goal. That's something that we haven't been doing in recent weeks. I mean, I know that he didn't take the penalty against Aston Villa, but he's just not getting touches of the ball, and then we find him and he scores. That is something that we just need to do more. I think we're still on a learning curve. I think everybody's still kind of getting acclimatized because the team changes every week, but we are getting there.
Yeah, we are. And people in the chat are giving massive praise to Erling Haaland. I mean, people are saying his mentality, beyond belief, says his mentality is just as impressive as performance on the field. Absolutely spot on. Is KDB now, a guarantee now for the lineup? I think he is, yeah. Benno says how he powered through Xhaka, a physical player in his own rights, was unbelievable power. Listen, with Erling Haaland, he's got it all, and what's scary for the rest of the league is with Haaland that he is also going through what Grealish had to go through last season. Obviously, completely different circumstances. Haaland's doing great, but Haaland's also going through a year of trying to understand City trying to understand Haaland. If this is Haaland before it's fully clicked, you should be really fucking worried about how it looks when it fully does click. Because listen, he's 6 goals off Salah's record for the Premier League, and he's got about 15 games to do so. He's going to break it to tomorrow. He got a hat-trick against Forest already this season. I'd say he's primed and ready to get more. So absolutely huge from Haaland. He's a joy to watch now. That game against Villa, that first half, and the game against Arsenal, he was just absolutely class to watch. As a City fan, he's just brilliant. But listen, what can I say? We're top of the league. We're back in our rightful place. We're top of the league. The Premier League, they made a big mistake. They made a big mistake waking us up and pissing us off. They pissed off Pep, they pissed off the fans, and they pissed off the players. And we're here. We're here with anger. We're here with chest. And I don't think we're going to be moved too easily. As regards to Arsenal Villa, Joe touched on a little bit, like, will they capitulate completely? Is this them on the decline? I think if Arsenal lose to Villa, you could see a massive crumble from Arsenal, because that's no wins in 5 then. I think it's 3 losses or 4 losses and a draw that would be at that point, I think, which is absolutely crazy. So I think tomorrow for us, obviously Forest away is huge as well. This is a massive weekend. There's no, that win means absolutely nothing if we don't go and beat Forest tomorrow as well. So massive job on our hands. Then we're off to Leipzig on Tuesday or Wednesday for Champions League. There's 92 in the building right now. Thank you all for coming in. Please leave a like if you would, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will have a video up pretty well just after final whistle tomorrow, giving my review on the Forest game. I'll let you know what I think about that, and we'll go live again probably at some point on Sunday or Monday to talk about the whole weekend and the title race once again. Thank you all for coming in. Please, if you're watching on playback, also leave a like on the stream. We're on the road to 6K. I'd absolutely love to hit 6,000 subscribers as soon as possible, so share it around. Subscribe if you're new yourself. Tell any Blues who like getting involved in the conversation. I'm reading all your messages as they're coming in, so appreciate and big love to all of you, and I will see you tomorrow with that Forest review. Please God, another 3 points. Let's build on this. City to the moon. Come on, City. Wrap her up, Joe.
Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand, 'cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, heart. Listen to your heart. Tell me who you wanna be. We can always start.